Before we begin, I would like to let you guys know that whatever information that we are sharing here is according to our personal experience and personal learnings that we have got from our Guru Sri Shivanandam. And whatever information or whatever concepts that we are giving here is entirely based upon our personal experience. We have learned a few things under our Guru over the course of few years, and we are just trying to share them over here so that it might help someone. Om Sri Guru Pyo Namaha. Namaste. In the previous video, we have discussed about the basics of spirituality and different types of margas or acharas that are there in spirituality, and what can one do to pursue them, and how does a soul chooses, how does it choose one particular path that it needs to pursue over a course of janmas or for certain amount of time, right? So today we are going to venture a little bit deeper into the concept of moksha itself, right? So what is moksha? Moksha is moksha or moksham is a soul breaking free from the cycle of life and death, right? Once it realizes that it is the essence of Brahman that is there, it follows a course of sadhana padam where it practices certain kind of spiritual procedures and spiritual practices, spiritual life. It accumulates some kind of jnana, and eventually it will get the capability to realize that it is the essence of Brahman itself. And once it is clear of all the karmas and all the attachments and all the dual aspects that are there in this world, once it is free from the perspective of the duality, once it realizes that there is only the singular ultimate Brahman, the super consciousness, then it will go ahead and merge with that consciousness, right? That is the concept of moksha. That is what it is. And all of these acharas that are there exist for the sole purpose of guiding a seeker towards the path of moksha, right? One might ask, like, if there are these many paths, and if the path is like very simple, you'll have to go through all these acharas step by step, and then once you'll eventually realize that you are the essence of Brahman, and then you'll merge with it, right? And it sounds very simple, but one might ask, like, but why are there a lot of people in this world right now who are who think that whatever they can see is the only reality and there is nothing beyond it, right? Well, that is one of the hurdles that you would get in the path of spirituality. And being born in this bhuloka, it's basically influenced by the concept of Māya or illusion. You can just say Māya is illusion, right? So what are some of the illusions that human beings face, that pulls them away from the path of spiritual enlightenment and then makes them get stuck in the cycle of life and death, right? This Māya is the main reason why a lot of people are stuck in the course of taking many janmas, and their soul not even realizing that it has been stuck in this path, because it's the characteristic of this bhuloka that is there, where it makes you creates an illusion in such a way that one might think that they are confined to the physical body, and their consciousness or consciousness is also confined to the physical body, and all the activities that are there in this bhuloka are the only things that are there. And basically they'll have to do these things and then leave their body and then come back again and just basically do the same thing, right? You might see people get stuck in the same loop. For example, like you talk to some people and then they'll say, like, okay, you're born now, you'll have to go to school, finish your education. After your education, get married. After getting married, get some have some kids. After having some kids, make them get married, grandchildren and all that stuff, and then eventually you die peacefully. That is what most people say. But the illusion is such that this cycle, whatever this pattern that exists in each and everyone's life, it repeats itself over the course of multiple janmas until and unless the soul realizes that it is stuck in there. right? So that is the power of illusion that this particular realm holds. And that is one of the main reasons why most sadhakas who are inclined towards pursuing spirituality will eventually get pulled away from that path, right? Like it might be for any reason. Like they might be pursuing, like they might be running after money, they might be running after relationships, they might be running after vyasanas, which are like smoking, drinking, and all the other kinds of stuff, right? The shed ripus that are there, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, madam, and matsarya. These are the shed ripus, or 6 enemies we call, that are there, that will make the person fall in this illusion and drag him away from the path of spirituality. So these acharas are there for one to always be mindful of the ultimate goal of moksha, right? So as long as you keep doing this, like at least for like some amount of time every day, your mind will not waver into all of these things. Especially once you get into the higher level acharas like siddhacharam, for example, the practices that are involved in there and the kind of gnana that you get from that path will make you hold on to that path. Like once you understand that gnanam, once you try to contemplate that and make sense of it, you will understand the true reality of the world. Like you'll understand why many enlightened people like Shankaracharya and even the rishis and maharishis that we have, they'll say that you are not the physical body, right? And it is easy to say that, but once you are in this path, once you start gaining some knowledge and everything, you'll be able to understand why you are not the physical body, right? So that is the reason why these paths are all laid out, and these are there for you to like keep course, like keep working towards the goal of moksha, right? And as long as you stay in this and you stay under the guidance of the guru and you keep doing whatever practices that you are told to, you will be very less, the influence of Maya will be very less on you, right? And there is lesser chance for you to deviate from that path and get influenced by all of these things that are there in the world right now. And the other major hurdle for a person to move away from the path of moksha is also another consequence of Maya, which is bound by the gunas, right? There are 3 gunas, the sattva, rajas, and tamas. Each have their own characteristics, right? Sattva is like complete peace, staying grounded, identifying whenever ahankara generates inside you, whenever ahankara rises inside you, identifying that and then subsiding it down and staying rooted, or staying polite and humble, and then going on your path, like not going into quarrels or not getting into the competitive modes or not getting jealous. And the rajas gunam, the rajasic gunam is like more competitiveness, and kind of a sense of pride that a person will have. It is the main quality that would be the basis of a rising ego in a person. And tamasic is like downright dark energies, where you will indulge yourself into dark activities. You are always surrounded by dark energies and influenced by people who has that kind of energy around you, right? You whenever these 3 gunas are there in all the human beings, right? But depending on the path you choose, the way of your life, the lifestyle that you live in, the proportions of these 3 gunas that are inside you, they keep changing. And for you to elevate your consciousness to a higher states and eventually go into the higher realms and then eventually dissolve yourself into that Brahman, you will have to primarily be in the Sattva Guna, and at some point of time you will also have to go beyond these gunas, right? When you go beyond these gunas, it is called as the Nirguna Tattvam, where that is one of the characteristics of the Brahman itself, right? Nirakara Nirguna. The Brahman doesn't have any akara or form. It is not form based, it is just pure light. And it is also not bound by any of these three gunas, sattva, rajas. It's basically beyond all these things. And it is also beyond any deity that you can see. Any deity that is that has a certain form is also driven by these three gunas, right? Whenever there is a form attached, there is always an influence of these three gunas in there. For example, you can take Saraswati, goddess Saraswati. She is like more sattva gunam. Goddess Lakshmi is rajasic, right? And the Dasha Mahavidyas, most of them are tamasic, right? It's basically the forms are manifested for a certain purpose, and that purpose will have certain kind of consciousness to it, and that will influence the proportions of the gunas in that particular form. And just like that, our human beings have all those three gunas, and the state of the vibration of that consciousness of that particular person will determine what kind of the proportions of the gunas in them, right? So if you want to progress in spirituality, you'll always have to be aligned towards the sattva guna. Like, try to improve sattvic qualities inside you, and eat sattvic food. Stay away from the tamasic stuff, and try to recognize when there is ego building up inside you, and talk to your guru or make yourself grounded and stuff like that. Once you do follow all these things, you will eventually raise your consciousness. And even if you don't get moksha, for example, you have done good amount of sadhana, you have raised your consciousness to a certain extent. I'm speaking hypothetically. There will be no way for us to actually know for sure that our consciousness has reached unless a guru tells you otherwise, right? But let us consider this example. Let us think that a seeker has done some good amount of sadhana, and let's say that consciousness of the seeker has risen, but he hasn't gained moksha. So what happens to that soul, right? So this is where the concept of the realms will come into play, right? In our Sanatana Dharma, there are 14 lokas. A universe is comprised of 14 lokas. A Brahmand or a universe is comprised of 14 lokas, 7 above and 7 below. So the 7 above are including the realm that we are in right now. The Bhuloka is one of the planes, and on the top of Bhuloka we have Bhuvarloka, Suvarloka, Maharloka, Janoloka, Tapoloka, and the Satyaloka. Each loka has, or each realm has its own kind of characteristics. Just like the Bhuloka is influenced by the illusion, the Māya, that will make you think that you are the body and not anything else. Each other loka will have its own kind of characteristics, right? And the higher the loka is, the higher the state of consciousness of the beings that are there in that particular loka, right? And the lower the consciousness of that person is, the level of vibration the consciousness vibrates for that particular person, they'll be attracted to that appropriate loka. So we always have to aim that our state of vibration should be at a higher state, and for that you'll have to do a certain amount of sadhana. You'll have to find a proper guru, and then under their guidance you'll have to indulge yourself in certain sadhanas and try to cleanse your karmas, and there is much more to it, which we'll discuss deeper in one of the coming videos. So those are the 7 lokas that are there, and there are 7 other lokas that are below us, right? Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Mahatala, and Patala. So these are the 7 lokas. Just like the 7 lokas above has their own kind of characteristics, the 7 lokas below will also have the certain kind of characteristics, and the beings that are there in all of these lokas are also different from each other. And for example, you are doing certain kind of sadhanas which are associated with a certain loka or a certain kind of frequency, right? If you, for some reason, you get attracted to the certain type of sadhana, and then you keep on doing that, and eventually you leave your body someday by doing that sadhana, what happens is your soul will go into the loka associated with that kind of sadhana and energy, Because what happens is when you're doing certain kind of sadhanas and certain mantra japas that you are doing, sounds of that particular mantra, whichever mantra that you are chanting, will create certain kind of vibrations inside your body. Because of those vibrations, it will alter the state of consciousness, right? You chant good positive mantras that can give you a spiritual enlightenment. It will elevate your consciousness. You involve yourself in certain kind of sadhanas that are not to be done. What happens is your consciousness gets pulled to that particular state, and then once you leave your body from this realm, you'll get pulled into that realm, and you'll spend how many ever janmas or the rest of the journey of that particular soul they'll spend in that particular loka, until and unless they realize that this is time for them to like move on and then raise their consciousness high again. So this is what will happen for a soul who doesn't get moksha in one janma. Depending on the sadhanas that they do, depending on the state of vibration, they'll get pulled into the realms, and they can continue their sadhana in those particular realms afterwards. I think when we talk about Māya, we mentioned that the illusion, it makes you think that your physical body is the only reality, right? But in according to our scriptures and according to the knowledge given to us by our rishis, there are some more layers beyond your physical body, and you're basically, your whole human is formed of certain koshas or certain sheaths they are called, right? And physical body is only one part of it. It is called and if you talk about these sheaths, these are called the Pancha Koshas, right? Annamaya kosha, pranamaya kosha, manomaya kosha, vijnanamaya kosha, and then anandamaya kosha. So these sheaths or these layers that are encompassed in a being. So when we talk about a being, that being will have these 5 layers, and one of those layers is the Annamaya kosha, where it is related to the physical body. So once you start elevating your lifting up your consciousness, what happens is your consciousness will travel from the Annamaya kosha to eventually to the Anandamaya kosha, or where the state of vibration of your mind, where it will experience that ecstasy or that bliss state, the Satchidananda state, where you will be in a constant state of bliss. That itself is the state of the Brahman, and then eventually you will basically merge with the Brahman. So this is on a very, very, very surface level, this is the concept of the Pancha Koshas. We'll discuss about the Pancha Koshas in detail when we talk about the concept of mind, body, soul, and consciousness. When we are going to do a separate episode on this particular topic, and we'll discuss about the koshas and the details related to those koshas in very much detail in that particular episode. But for this episode, I think that is it. Namah Shivaya. For those of you who are watching our videos, and if you'd like to know more about certain topics, or if you have any questions about the topics, or if you want us to talk about certain things that have not been discussed here, you can always leave them in the comment section, and then we'll bring it up to you. And for those of who are interested in pursuing this path, or if you are interested to meet our Guru, Ma Shivanandamayi, you can contact us through the email provided in the description. Thank you. Namah Shivaya.